Sonic Universe Issue 69 Reboot. If this was written as having logic, Shadow would instantly freeze time with Chaos Control, punch Knuckles all he wants until he gets it out of his system, and then teleport him and Relic away. That'd save a lot on padding, instead of wasting a bunch of our time making him look like an idiot, as all we get to see of the fight are panels where we see sound effect words and flashes of light, instead of seeing their fists hit each other. And so there's no appeal in seeing the fight then. Just end it right away. I'm just guessing this is gonna happen. I haven't even looked at the story yet. I hope it won't waste too much time. Is it as stupid as I just predicted? Okay, at least we're seeing them hit each other a few times. Shadow lampshades that this is a waste of his time, but he just gets out a Chaos Spear instead of teleporting him. He tells his friends to head back to the shuttle rather than teleporting them to the shuttle in a second. This whole story shouldn't have happened. I'm just wondering why Knuckles doesn't interrupt him when he has his back turned and attack him. Again, Shadow wastes time saying he'll move the Master Emerald with Chaos Control and meet him there. How did he not learn this lesson after the first time? How is he not interrupted this time? You know what? Even Cubot in Sonic Boom is smarter than modern Shadow. Cubot said he learns from his mistakes. Aside from the one time Shadow vowed not to destroy humanity, and even then he's going genocidal on another species anyways, saying that they're monsters when he thought that humans were monsters. Name one time other than that Shadow learned from a mistake. And Relic is the padding princess once again, standing in front of the Emerald when she should know that she has no chance of being useful. Ever. In anything. Ever. Shadow wastes time telling her to get out of his way instead of remembering he can teleport her. And out of complete nowhere, Rouge tells Shadow to stand down even though that's their mission, and that this is getting out of control, when Shadow should be in full control of the situation. This is written like Knuckles wrote it after he forgot that Shadow had Chaos Control. Once again, Rouge is a jewel thief. She wants the Emerald. She wanted it from her first appearance. So this couldn't be more out of character for her. And I can't help but feel like her being the girl is the only reason she's being the moral high ground all of a sudden. Because Shadow stood there drooling like an idiot listening to Rouge talk instead of using his powers, Knuckles had the time to punch him while gliding and swing Shadow around. This is a fucking insult to Shadow's character. Even a 5-year-old wouldn't write this. He'd know that Shadow can teleport. He's just forcing the whole story to happen regardless of logic. He wants it to happen so bad. Wait, was I supposed to know he punched Shadow away from that panel? I guess the art wasn't that good. Anyways, he goes after Shadow and ignores Relic, leaving her with people she's scared of. Sonic Boom portrayed Shadow better than this. At least he was always a badass. He mopped the floor with Knuckles. Relic pads things out again by saying she's read about many forms of martial arts. And Omega mocks her, calling her the tiny nerdy one. Snively compliments her as loyal. Rouge tells Snively they're holding their position until Shadow and Knuckles would tire themselves out, and then they'll discuss their next move. Rather than going to the shuttle, like Shadow clearly ordered them to do earlier, because I guess they have a goldfish memory. Why is Snively here if he's not even in charge of them? I thought he was supervising them on behalf of Gun, and so Rouge could get in trouble for disobeying him. Otherwise, why was he sent here if he's not going to do anything? Rouge out of complete nowhere says that she respects Knuckles and he deserves a say. Flashback to SA2's first cutscene with her. She wasn't even given any reason to have this character development. Oh right, he saved her life in SA2. But she can fly, she didn't need his help, and she should have known that. So she only liked him because of an idiot ball. And SA2 isn't the reboot. And Shadow gets thrown onto Azure Lake Zone, bouncing multiple times from the fall. And I guess he's magically unharmed because he has rings. Except he just got out of a fight with Eclipse, and Rouge said he was in rough shape afterwards. He's not stupid enough to be so reckless that he wouldn't just end the fight immediately when he's already in rough shape. Then Eclipse pads out the issue, taunting Shadow psychically. He says that he'll go after the Emerald while he's fighting Knuckles, rather than not giving him a warning. Then why doesn't he do it then? Warp to the Emerald and warp it away from the heroes. It takes 2 seconds. This is why you have to be very careful when writing a character who can teleport. It's It's not that better than time travel. Flynn was just as bad with Amy having teleportation in his fan comic. This is why I'm so frustrated with Flynn. When you make a mistake once, I guess it's okay, but when you do nothing but make the same mistakes over and over again, why hasn't he gotten better since his fan comic? Amy could have saved people's lives with her teleportation and she didn't. Shadow says he'll make this quick, but if he had a brain, instead of Flynn riding him, he'd just teleport Knuckles away and actually make it quick. Eclipse is sympathetic again by going home and saying, "Please be okay, please be okay." He's relieved and calls them little ones and apologizes while one's on his head and he hugs two of them. He looks worried when one of them says, apparently, that they want to help him fight, and he's opposed to it because they're so young. Okay, if they can talk to him, it just makes it needlessly confusing and inconsiderate to the audience to have us unable to see what they're saying. How can he understand them? Telepathy? How can they talk? They're newborns. Didn't this happen in his fan comic 3B too? With Big Understanding Froggy? Then we see Eclipse remember Black Death saying that they had to go out of their way to cultivate wisps for a scheme, and felt confused about leaving the wisp planet teeming with life. Okay, lampshading the confusing writing doesn't mean it makes sense. Eclipse agrees to letting them fight, reasoning that he bred them to be the perfect weapons. They sure grow up fast. Didn't they just hatch? It's impossible to take him seriously when he's so stupid and irresponsible. There's only a few of them. This is suicidal of them. Also, well, I guess I would think it was too dark to have the Wisp planet actually be taken over by the Black Arms and destroyed. It would at least fill in the plot hole of why are the Wisps even bothering being around Mobius. Like in the games, we're supposed to believe that the Wisps just like Mobius so much that they went to go back to them, and that's why they're in Sonic Lost World and Sonic Forces. Shadow Spin Dash magically bounces off Knuckles without harming him after all the times he's attacked Knuckles so far. And he grabs Knuckles by the neck. This is like the third time he's tried to strangle someone, which is no better than Robotnik. I really hate how there's worthless recap panels. Why is Knuckles thinking about the Emerald? Why does he have the time instead of Shadow just warping him away? If Shadow's not evil anymore, why is he wasting time strangling Knuckles? It's official. Shadow and Knuckles are written as almost the same character. They're both serious morons. The only difference is one cares about the Master Emerald being in one place, and if Shadow had his life, he'd be exactly the same as him. It's so cheesy how much time Knuckles wasted because I know he won't lose, because that would have made actual sense. He would have lost by now if that was the plan. So he kicks Shadow, making me wonder what took so long, and I don't even see his foot hit Shadow anyways. He spin dashes at him, and Shadow spin dashes at his fist again, which magically block him. Well, that did happen in Sonic 3, but that was incredibly frustrating in Sonic 3, because I know it was stupid there too. Teleport him! Can it just be barred from writing Shadow ever again? Ugh. You know when Shadow killed all of the Metal Sonic Troopers in one hit? He achieved that by using Chaos Control, and that was by Penders. I complained about that being overpowered, but I take that back. That's not really bad writing at all when you compare it to this. I'd rather him be overpowered and taking full advantage of his abilities than underpowered because he's a moron. Their fists hit each other, and Knuckles expects me to believe Sonic put up more of a fight. Well, apparently he's a lot smarter, so no wonder. Shadow kicks him in the head and warps away. Never mind, he warps directly to Knuckles, instead of to the Emerald to warp it away. Why? So Knuckles grabs his fist, predicting that he warped to behind him. Knuckles is now smarter than Shadow. Tell me how this writer gets the characters again? Out of nowhere, we see Omega holding Fix It upside down, saying that it's his function to antagonize him. But why? Why doesn't he kill him outright then? Why would Eggman program him to bully weaker robots? Relic is just being padding, and so is Snivelly. And like Fix-It isn't one of Eggman's robots, so why would he be mean to him? He finally points out that he could tell the commander how Rouge is wasting time and endangering the world. Then why didn't he do it already? Rouge says the world is shattered right now, but that isn't a comeback. The world's fine regardless. And if this was really threatening, we'd see Rouge get punished. Can't Snively just make a phone call to the commander? Why didn't he do it already? Although I would have been annoyed at seeing Rouge get court-martialed for doing the right thing. Out of nowhere, Eclipse says that he might become decisive after he's consumed Rouge, as if he's Kirby, and wastes time talking to her, and Omega wastes time talking to him, calling dibs. He gets armor from Blurk. Somehow Omega doesn't give up on attacking him after his laser fails to hurt him. So he gets damaged and humiliated because he's an idiot. It is gutsy to show Omega is damaged. Then he uses a wing transformation, and finally kicks Rouge, and she falls. He gets his laser power, and then is an idiot by saying that he wants Shadow to be the first to die by the power of his black arms, who he's nice enough to call Precious. So he won't kill Relic, and instead wastes time asking her how she got here. She says she took a boat when the island fell in Sonic Adventure. You didn't need a boat to get to Angel Island when it fell in SA1. So I guess this is a Reboot exclusive thing. Like, you needed trains to get to Mystic Ruins, and then you just went up a windy tunnel to get straight to Angel Island with no boat required. Why is he wasting even more time asking Snively how he got here? Also, he's clearly not here. Snively says to go ahead and shoot Relic because he doesn't know her, and he gets to observe more of his mutations as a scientist. Why does he want to get fired from Gun? You'd think that he'd be under constant supervision. Eclipse says that his father is right and his kind is beyond hope. Rouge reveals she's holding her arm in pain, so that's gutsy at least. He tells Rouge to hurry up. Rouge says that she came here via a troop shuttle and landed in Launch Base Zone on the other side of the island. Relic tells him to follow the river to the east, and it's at the foothills of the mountain built over a lake. I thought he wanted the Master Emerald. If he doesn't immediately warp it away after getting this vital information, he's hopeless. He tells his children to go get the emerald instead of instantly warping away with it, destroying Snively's communication link with them. Relic says she's getting away and somehow expects them to do something. What a moron. Again. Rouge says she's trying to not black out from pain, and says Omega could pop her shoulder back in. If Relic was useful, she'd do it. Fixit says he could repair Omega, who stupidly says he won't promise not to threaten him again if he fixes him. At this point, I'd rather all the characters be too smart than this consistently stupid from now on. The heroes waste valuable time, Knuckles hits a rock, and he and Shadow fall down a waterfall. Knuckles can glide. Why doesn't he flip around in midair and glide? I guess he has too much momentum going downwards to do it. So they fall into the water instead of Shadow warping away, and I'm expected to take it seriously as they come back to the surface, when I'm just hoping Shadow will instantly teleport to safety. And the story ends showing the Dark Arms holding the Master Emerald, when Eclipse should obviously just warp the Emerald away with them to a safe distance. This issue is by Ian Flynn, and is a long string of the writer and characters forgetting about Chaos Control. Shadow fights like a drooling idiot the whole time. He had the same problem when he was fighting Sonic in Pendra's Isaac arc. And Eclipse has a badass creative display of powers by using the Dark Arms, but it's so obvious that this wasn't necessary. Instead of endangering his children, he should have known he could just teleport the Master Emerald away in a second. Of course, it makes sense that he'd need the heroes' help finding out how to escape the island, since he doesn't know what places on the world other than Angel Island look like, so he can't warp to them. So I'm doing that with smart. Otherwise, it's just nothing but idiocy while I'm yelling at Shadow for forgetting his powers the whole time. I can only assume that Shadow's only wasting time fighting Knuckles because he's mad at him. He could just run away at Sonic speed whenever he wants. Even if he thinks that he can't use Chaos Control because Eclipse is on the island with them. Is that it? He doesn't say that, so that's a plot hole. Why is he so mad at him when it wasn't his idea to get the Master Emerald anyways? His goal is to fight Eclipse. He kept saying that was all he cared about. You'd think he'd only care about that. He was so insistent that he ended Eclipse before getting the Master Emerald. The story's stupid. The fight only happened as an excuse to get Shadow out of the way, while Eclipse has a fight scene where the writing's gutsy enough to get Rouge and Omega injured. That was the only great part of the story. And logically it never should have happened because he forgot he had Chaos Control. They shouldn't have even wasted comics based on Shadow's fight. All they did to attack each other was the predictable stuff anyways, except one time Shadow was humiliated. If all they did was punch and spin dash, what was the point of showing it besides padding? But at least we saw their attacks hit each other. What a compliment.